In today's journey, we're going to see how KegLand's rechargeable power sprayer compares to a regular spray bottle. We're going to go over simple spray tests and disassemble the whole power sprayer. Let's remember that with great responsibility comes great power. So let's all agree to use our PPE and be safe with these tools. As the more dangerous the chemical you're using, the more dangerous it is to spray it. So while you're reading the manufacturer's guidelines, we'll be testing how well the sprayer sprays. Once fully charged and fully filled, we just simply press the button and it turns on. We're also able to, see why that's not necessarily the best operation, as that means it'll stay running during a problem. Meaning, say, theoretically, if you were to drop this, it could hit something, turn on, and just spray randomly. A rare occurrence maybe, but devastating consequences are possible, which could be avoided with a simple power switch and a mode selector, so that you could switch between momentary and continuous fire. Also, you probably shouldn't be adjusting it while using it. Now watch as I adjust it while using it so that we can see the different spray patterns. And as you can see, we go from a decently powerful jet to a very fine mist. And even under mist mode, we are able to drench the table very quickly. We could have an entire day's worth of equipment sanitized in a moment. Just remember, it's also just as easy to get the floor soaking wet. And remember, when it's star sand, it's very slippery. And personally, I'd be very impressed if I'd have never used a regular spray bottle before, let alone the ones we recommend. These come in a set of 5 for the same price as one power sprayer, about $30. Check the pinned comment or the description for affiliate links. It's easy to see that both of these will get the job done just as well as the other, but each has a different priority. This manual sprayer specializes in control. See how I'm able to change the spray pattern without manipulating the nozzle. And when I do, we are able to create a much fuller mist. So while we are able to do more power and more aeration, we are unable to move as much water as the power sprayer can in the same amount of time. However, this does not really affect the ability to cover an area for sanitization. It does mean that doing something such as cleaning keg lines or a picnic tab assembly is something that the power sprayer would be able to do, but the hand sprayer just couldn't. No matter how hard you really try, you just do it. I dare you. And it's also kind of missing the point, because a spray bottle isn't about moving water per minute. It's about coverage more so, or just blasting stuff. The real takeaway here, and something the other reviews have kind of overlooked completely, is the amount of effort I've used. So this is extremely useful for accessibility in the brewing world. Wait, hold on a second. Look at how much turbulence is on the manual sprayer side, and yet how much faster the water line's going up on the power sprayer side. It's kind of funny. I'm sure there's a metaphor in there. Let me know in the comments. And it never hurts me when a machine gets a job done that I can't, but the bottle claims that it can do 750 milliliters a minute. But here we just did a minute, and that's 400 milliliters that it's done. Maybe our testing methodology was flawed. So KegLand, if you'd like, please let us know how to perform as advertised. I'd also like to see how they're testing the 3-bar max pressure. But even still, it's fine. It's a fine product. I would not pay $30 myself for it, but it would make a great present. It's really important just to make sure that your expectations are where they need to be. For example, it may be a power sprayer, but it's not a power washer like this COP, which actually runs with so much power that it's able to shorten the amount of sanitation and cleaning contact time thanks to the magic of the center circle. By increasing my mechanical action, I can decrease time, temperature, or chemical action. The power sprayer may not get those advantages, but what it can do is change out the spray nozzle for a handy dandy little tool. And it is worth pointing out that this is something that the KegLand Power Sprayer can do that near no other power sprayer can that we know of. And that's attach it to a keg line. For the $30 price, this really should be included already, as it's also the thing that actually makes this really useful outside of improved accessibility. And boy, during the golden age of home brewing, we would have sold so many of these at the store. But there really isn't another cheap, efficient way to get into line cleaning. Just remember that at no point should this be running deadhead style. That is to say that the opening should always allow for the flowing of liquid. Unlike what Phil just did here, where he plugged it in with the picnic tap assembly closed. This could lead to a buildup of pressure that leads to something bursting, leading to chemicals and eyes and things. Look, I'm not trying to be a downer. I'm just trying to remind you that it doesn't take a lot of contact with star sand to have the side effect of detached retinas. So if you like to see, don't get it in your eye. But oh boy, would I have loved to have had this for my first kegging system. I feel they may be overselling this for being able to clean full-fledged bar systems, but for a 1-tap, 2-tap tower at home, or just the picnic tap assemblies, I think it's great. This is definitely the definition of a great gift for brewers, as it's something that they could use and probably wouldn't buy for themselves. Alright, let's get ready for the fun part though, where we rip this open. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and help support us by buying our cheat sheet or other ways such as our Ko-Fi with links in the pinned comment below. Also, you can buy some of Phil's art. Trust me, a little goes a long way. But back to the program. We've already noted that the bottle itself has a few claims that we don't think that it really can back up, but also it says that it's chemical resistant, but then doesn't tell you what kind of material that the bottle is made out of. That's something that people would want to know, and I thought was required in the US. But regardless, it is made out of a sturdy plastic with no smell, and it has that right amount of strength and give that prevents it from being brittle or easily broken. However, that's not really the highlight today. We're here for the pump head action, right? And the end of the hose starts with a coarse filter to prevent any coarse material getting up there. So say you don't mix your PBW properly. I wouldn't spray PBW, but say you did. It would prevent any of the crystals from getting up into the pump head causing problems. The bigger issue there would be, say you got a crystal up in top and then you put an acid. You know, acids and bases don't like each other inside of a sealed environment, just like this one here where it's not letting us in. We're gonna have to figure out where they're hiding that secret screw. The one place I know it's not right now is behind the protective flap for the USB-C charger, and I don't feel a hole behind the sticker for the battery indicator. In fact, I'm fairly certain that it's going to be hidden behind one of these gray dots on the side, hidden behind decoration. It's very much is clear that they don't really want you opening this up, which is kind of a shame, because we're going to find out that it is somewhat repairable. It's just hard to put back together. And I was right. After some convincing poking and prodding, we found that the screw is right here, behind one of the gray dots. Not both, just one. And hold on one second while I grab my teeny tiny screwdriver right here. It's a long screw, but hey, I'd rather it go all the way through, be stable, than fall apart. So allow me to use some of my time wizard powers to speed up time. But unfortunately, my awesomeness was never going to help me deal with the fact that it's kind of a cluster in here. You'll want to be really careful when you open this up, as it needs to go back exactly how you found it, or you're going to have trouble, whether or not you're in River City with pool tables or not. But let's learn from my mistakes and take a look at what's on the inside. As you can see at the top, we have a very nice large lithium battery and a pump that looks suspiciously similar to the kind of pump we use to do transfers. 2 circuit boards, hoses, and a nozzle. Yeah, a power sprayer. Most complicated thing in here is the charging circuit for the lithium battery, which is an HY18650. A pretty standard rechargeable battery that you see in a lot of projects. In fact, you can just buy them on Amazon. So it's really cool to see that if something were to happen to your battery and it needs to be replaced, you could replace it. However, I feel this is more of a convenience than a right to repair advocacy, as there's a lot of benefits to designing around a off-the-shelf part. Up next, let's take a look at the control board, which includes a momentary switch which handles turning on and off the pump, a motor control circuit, and finally a charging circuit for managing the battery charging. These seem to be off-the-shelf chips that have been arranged onto a slightly bespoke board designed specifically for this task. I could not find this board for sale. However, I wouldn't be surprised if this board shows up in other products made by that manufacturer The backside of this board contains 4 JST connectors that connect the battery, the power indicator, the USB-C charging port, and the pump itself. And for the astute viewer, you may remember I said that pump looked kind of familiar. And as you can see, actually, if a little modifications, they could have used the pump we used before, as long as you're fine using the bigger handle. But I think that would have been overkill. I think the pump they used is fine. However, this immediately 180-degree bend in the hose, I'm not a super fan of. They at least put a spring inside the hose to prevent kinking, but no matter what, you're going to have a loss of power due to a bend of such a drastic nature, and it's got more to get to before it gets to the output. I know they're dealing with limited space, but there are options and room for a V2 with either more power or less loss of power. For example, the motor may have been mounted perpendicular to the handle, either below or above the hand. This could also free up space to allow for a larger battery pack or more controls, such as a mode selector like previously suggested. However, KegLand probably did not design this handle from the ground up, as the manufacturer probably supplied a default handle to design around, with the main customization being that the nozzle is compatible with a keg post. And that's super cool. And everything works good enough. It's not like it needs a reversion 2. There's just things that could be better, such as this USB port, which is USB-C shaped, not USB-C certified. Meaning, while you can plug a USB-C cable into it, it doesn't mean it will always charge. So long as you plug it into a dumb charger that will default to the lower standard USB voltage. I know this because A, I've used this device and others on USB-C to C chargers and they don't work, and B, because I looked at the circuit board and it only connects positive and negative. There is no communication circuit. Therefore, fast charging and other advanced chargers will not recognize this, and they will only charge this device if they have a fallback mode that defaults to the older USB standard, which is like 95% of the time, so it's not that big a deal. But fast charging would be a great upgrade, as if someone were to, say, forget to charge, it'd be nice if it would charge quickly. But as far as I'm concerned, it's a fine enough product, just don't take it apart, and hopefully Phil can put that back together. That's his job. My job is to tell you to like, comment, and subscribe, and check out some of our other videos if you'd like to see more product reviews about products people talk about. And until next time, happy brewing.